What's up, YouTube? It's me, Kenny from Rebellion Vapors again. Today I have a special video. It's Super Bowl special or whatever. Since the Super Bowl's today, I figured I would do Tank Bowl. And so today I have just a quick comparison between the Smok TFV12 Prince that I need to put juice in because it's running low. I have the FreeMax Fireluke tank that I actually just filled a little bit earlier. And then the special guest, I guess, because I just bought this a couple of days ago and I tried it and got to know it a little bit and realized, I really want to add this to this video. I'd kind of thought about getting it to add to this video, but I got it and was like, I'm definitely adding it to this because I've been planning this for a few days. I didn't know I was going to do it today, but I'd been wanting to do a comparison between these two, and then I got this and was like, I'm definitely adding this to it. It's the FreeMax Fireluke Mesh Subohm Tank. Yes, I said mesh. And so each of these kind of have their own little niche, and I'll get to that in a second. Let me put some juice in here. I hope this is the juice that I had in here before. It tastes like the same juice. I just don't know if I had this or the other dragon. I'm not going to completely fill you because I do think I had dragon smoke in this, not blue. It's fine. It's a very similar. Sorry, I was looking for the top part and then realized it was just a swinging door as opposed to the fill method on those. I'll show you all those real quick here in a second so you don't think I'm just losing my mind. So this one right here, its little niche is mostly cloud production. It does have wonderful flavor, don't get me wrong. None of these have bad flavor. It's just slight differences in how much flavor. So you're going to get great flavor on this and honestly tremendous cloud production. I mean, this is definitely, as far as cloud goes, this is definitely the king of the three. Screw Prince. It's the king of cloud production between these three. I haven't tried a lot of Subohm tanks recently. Just these three. Well, I take that back. I do have the TFV8 Baby B slide up tank that I did a review on. But out of these three, this is definitely the most cloud production. Pretty much by, well, maybe not by far, but it's definitely a noticeable. And that may just come from the fact that I have a, what do they call it, duodenary coil. It's a lot of coils. It's like a 10 coil setup. And so, yeah, you're going to have a lot of cloud production with that kind of coil. But even with like the octuple, it has more slightly more cloud production than the other two. As far as battery life, though, the duodenary has lasted a lot longer than I had honestly expected, which was my biggest issue. Where did I put it? I don't even know where I put the TFV12. I was burning through coils on almost every 2 or 3 day basis, and so I just set it down and was like, I don't want to spend $10 on or $8 on a coil every couple of days. And the coil life on these, I've noticed all three of these have significantly better coil life than any other Subohm tank that I have ever used, which I will admit is not a lot. I have not used a lot of Subohm tanks because I kind of just jumped in on the Smok bandwagon and didn't really like them. And I'm trying to branch out a little bit, so I picked up the Fireluke and enjoyed it and was like, maybe I'll give Smok another chance and do a kind of comparison, because I really honestly thought I would not like this tank after my experiences with Smok up to this point. But overall, I do actually really like this tank. This one I'm actually borrowing from a friend, and so when he wants it back, which I plan on giving it back whenever he asks for it, or I'll offer it if he wants it back after I record a review specifically on this. I'll see if he wants it back and go out and either buy a kit that comes with one, because this is the tank that's going to come with almost every larger device kit that Smok Tech puts out. I know it comes with the G-Priv 2, G-Box 2, whatever it's called. It comes with the mag. He actually got this tank with the T-Priv 3. So there's a lot of different boxes I could buy that comes with it if I want another box mod or anything like that. Or I might just buy it by itself. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. The delay on this is actually starting to annoy me, because I'll sit here and talk for a little bit, and then the screen will go off and I have to wait. I know that I said in my experiences with this device that it wasn't a big deal, but there for a second it kind of bugged me. It bugs me a little bit, but I get over it pretty quick. I know that this tank does come in a lot of different colors. All three of these come in a lot of different color options. Those two I think have a little bit more option, just because they come in both acrylic, stainless steel. You have those options, and then you have a lot of different general appearances as far as colors. And I think the stainless steel has a couple of different like general design, like texture kind of things. I know that there's knurling on it, and I think there's a stainless steel that doesn't have knurling on the Fireluke, and we'll get to those here in a second. What I want to talk about right now is this guy. I really do like this tank. I like this tank a lot more than I thought I would. Cloud production is fantastic. But what I really care about is flavor. And this actually has a lot better flavor than any other Smok Tech tank this size that I have used. In the last couple of weeks, I've tried a couple of different smaller Smok Tech tanks. Like I bought the TFV8 Baby Beast or Big Baby Beast light up tank, and I've liked the flavor on this quite a bit, much more than I liked the flavor on, say, the TFV8 or the TFV12 that I could not really taste the juice in that well. So as far as flavor in Smok Tech tanks, I do find that I like the smaller ones significantly more. Just in general, I like the smaller ones significantly more than I've liked the other TF model tanks that I've used. I'm just now kind of getting back into the Subohm tank game, so bear with me if my knowledge about Subohm tanks is lacking, because I'm a rebuildable guy. And I'll get to that here in a second as well. But this guy on Element Vape is $31.95 for just the Prince tank, or you can buy a mag kit or the Priv 3 kit. I don't know the prices on those. The G-Priv kit, the G-Priv 2 kit, or the Majesty kit, I know comes with it, and I don't know the prices on any of the kits, but I know that the tank itself is $31.95. It's going to come with a little extra goodies that you won't get in a kit. I think with the box mod kits, you mostly just get the tank. I think you get one, maybe two replacement coils, a couple of maybe like O-rings and stuff, and then a replacement glass, and I think that's it. And I think I'm fairly certain you get more with the tank by itself as far as goodies. So keep that in mind if you're looking. But yeah, as far as cloud production, one thing that I had not seen until this guy, and it does do the same thing, but the airflow will actually lock in a direction. So once it's open, it's fully open, and it locks fully open, and so it won't go any more in that direction. Same with fully closed. And so that just makes it a lot easier to unscrew from your device, because you're not trying to grab it by the top so that it'll actually turn, or by the glass or something else, which was an issue I had with the TFV12 and the TFV8. And as far as the airflow on this, I mean, it's a lot louder than I'm used to because I'm used to rebuildables. But as far as Subohm tanks and what I've noticed in Subohm tanks, it's about on par with pretty much every Subohm tank as far as like the sound. So there's that. This guy, let me open you up all the way. This one I think is actually a little louder. Has a little more airflow though. But the difference in airflow could honestly be just from what coil head I have in here, because the one I have in here is the sextuple versus the duodenary, and so there's a lot more room in the sextuple for the air to go through. And so there's that. That could be contributing to the difference in airflow. I actually keep this one closed off a little bit though, because I do like a slightly... I don't like completely open airflow. Like, that's my biggest issue with some of the larger RDAs out there, is they've just got too much airflow for me. Now, onto this guy, since I've talked about that one for a little bit, and then I'll give my final thoughts here in a little bit. This one has slightly better flavor, but I don't think it has quite as much cloud production and fewer coil options. But the flavor on this guy, personally, I like the flavor a lot better. Or significantly better. Better enough that I will say that I definitely like the flavor on this guy better than the Prince. None of them have bad flavor. Again, let me reiterate, they all have great flavor. Far better than I've had on a Subohm tank up to this point. So, that being said, this one definitely stands out in the flavor category. And it does come, and this is a big one for me because I am a rebuildable guy. It comes with the RBA section in the box. You can get a rebuildable section for the Prince, but it's going to cost you, I want to say $14.95 extra on Element Vape, or I don't know if they have them on Element, but that's the price I've seen, is $14.95. And so you do have to pay for the rebuildable on that, and I think $14.95 might be a little much for a rebuildable section after paying for a tank, personally. So this one stands out in those aspects, but it doesn't have, I don't feel like it has quite as much cloud production as the Prince. So if you're just looking for cloud production and still would like good flavor, the Prince is your option. That's your go-to if you don't care about rebuildable or you just want a shit ton of clouds. If you don't care about being your own weather system, this is a great option. You're still going to be a weather system, let's be honest. But category, I don't want to call it that. Yeah, you're a weather system, more of a weather system. Like, let's do, I guess, a quick back-to-back comparison. Still a lot of cloud production on this guy, don't get me wrong. Let me make sure. But this guy, definitely a little more cloud. A significant amount more cloud. And so, cloud production, this guy. Flavor production, this guy. This one you can also run on a single battery mod. Like, I'm running it at 65 watts, which most single batteries can hit. This one I'm at 77.5, which you can, but it's still kind of pushing close to the top limit of your batteries. I would not run that on a single battery mod because, one, battery life's going to be just awful. Which to me, a single battery mod just has awful battery life to begin with. Personally, I like 3 battery mods, not because I run 250, 300 watts, but because I like battery life. I like being able to not charge my batteries all day. And so, battery life is kind of a thing for me. But yeah, you've got rebuildable, you've got slightly better flavor, slightly less cloud production on this guy. You do have a lot of different options. This is the acrylic resin, and then there is a stainless steel option. You've got different colors on each. It's a real nice, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, But it's a nice purple on this guy with some red thrown in there, and slightly lighter pinks are in there. And so if that's kind of your thing, if you like that resiny look, the Fireluke is a wonderful looking tank. Coil life on both of these are phenomenal compared to the TFV8 or the TFV12, the TFV12, the old TFV12 that they've discontinued because I don't know why, but the coil life on them, in my experience, was awful. I was changing the coils on those like every 2 or 3 days, and then I just put it aside. I was like, I don't want to keep buying coils for this. It's getting ridiculous. And so that's a big plus for me on this, is if I decide that I don't like the coil life, I can start rebuilding. You know, maybe re-wick every couple of weeks. I don't re-wick as often as I should, I know. But the coil life on both of these is great. And I'm running pretty sweet juices in them. Oh, I didn't mention juice capacity. This one has 2 different tank options, or 2 different glass options. Let me rephrase that. It's got the like standard bubble glass like you see here, and then it's got another bubble glass. It is a bubble glass, but it bubbles out at the bottom and then tapers in a little bit more at the top than this guy does, or a little earlier at the top. And so you've got a 4 milliliter option, 4 mLs, or the 5 mLs with the bigger bubble that I've got on here right now. But on this guy, if I remember correctly, it's an 8 ml juice capacity. Don't quote me on that. It might be 6, but I'm pretty sure it's 8. And don't worry, that wasn't like ramp up or anything. That was the mod. It went to sleep or whatever. The screen turned off, and it takes a little bit for it to actually go. I talked about that a little bit in my video about my experience with the GX, or not GX, X3, along with a couple of other issues I had with this guy. I'm not going to get into it here. Good news is it's still working. It's still in one piece. 510's still in. Batteries are still reading. Okay, I'm going to have a nicotine buzz if I don't get on with this video and stop just chain vaping one tank after another tank, one juice after another juice. I actually am fairly certain I've got the same juice in both of these. I do have a different juice. Okay, I'm good. Okay, so on to the last tank I've got, and then my final thoughts, my final recommendations, stuff like that. I have the Fireluke Mesh, and I'm glad I saved this one for the last because I don't quite get as much nicotine in a 3 off this. I could probably bump this up to a 6 and be on par with these because it's a smaller tank. It doesn't use as much juice, which is wonderful. But this is more of a flavor kind of tank. This is by far the best flavor tank out of the 3. Significantly best flavor. Also significantly less airflow, significantly less cloud production. But let's just so for reference, I'm running this one at 55 watts. I had this one at 65, and this one I have at 77 and a half. I do like half wattage variables sometimes. I usually go by like 2.5s. Personally, I'm weird. I don't know. I know a lot of people will run anything as long as it's a single digit, like no decimal in there. Some people are like, I don't care if it's 67.2, 67.3. They don't care what the decimal is. They just find exactly where they want it. I do like the 2.5 kind of watt range. But I've got this one at 55 watts. So this, out of the 3, is probably going to be your best as far as a single battery regulated device. Definitely don't run any of these. Do not run any of these on a mechanical. They each have the standard kind of 510 you'll see on a Subohm tank. And so what that means is it's very easy for these to hard short on a mech. So do not ever, under any circumstances, run any Subohm tank on a mech. General rule. That being said, let me actually get to this tank because I'm excited about this tank. It's the newest of the tank, but it is by far so far my favorite of the three. Just because the flavor on this guy, I like flavor, and the flavor on this guy is phenomenal. You still do get a nice dense cloud. Don't get me wrong, it's not that it's not going to have a cloud. It is going to have a pretty good cloud, but as far as being a weather system, it doesn't compare to those. Just being honest. But the flavor, if you're looking for a flavor tank and you don't care about a rebuildable section, by far, this guy. And for price comparison, the coils on these I've seen pretty much on average $1.50 to $2 cheaper than the Prince. Same with the Fireluke. Their coil heads are, as far as I've seen, the exact same price. I've yet to actually buy a new coil for this one. But where I go, the coil heads for the Prince are, I want to say $7.95 versus $5 for the Fireluke. And I'm assuming the Fireluke Mesh is also $5. It may be $6. But the coil heads on these, all three, are excellent as far as coil head life. From what I've ever seen on Subohm tanks. A week minimum, unless you don't prime right or something like that. So you're going to get at least a week out of any of these coils unless you're running extremely, extremely sweet juices. I know one guy said that he had a coil on this guy for a day and it had to be changed, but he was running, I don't know what it's called, but let's just, for reference, and I'm sure this may give away what juice it was because I honestly don't remember what it's called. I'd never heard of it. Apparently, and I've never bought it, so I don't know. I can't, but I did check with the people that operate the vape shop where I was at, where I found this out. Apparently, this juice that he was running is so sweet and will burn your coils out so quickly and need to be re-wicked so often that they put little strips of cotton bacon in some of their boxes. And I think it's just a running joke because it's not all the boxes. It's just one or two here and there. But sometimes they will slip in some cotton with their juice. And I find that hilarious that this juice is that sweet and that harsh on wicking. But that's just me. So I'm not 100% sure exactly how sweet your juice is, how often you have to re-wick to begin with. But in my experience on these both, about a week and a half. And being a similar kind of tank to the Fireluke, I'm assuming it's going to be about the same. So I'm assuming about a week to a week and a half on the coil heads. I have yet to change this one. I've had it for a few days. So I've definitely noticed already better coil life on this than the TFV12. And just the flavor. If you have never used mesh as your heating element, the flavor on this guy, and it's literally just, you've got the mesh wrapped around like a standard coil head, and then just straight up in your mouth, and it is, oh man, the flavor. I cannot say enough about how good the flavor is on this guy. If you go out and buy it, do know that it does take a little longer than the Fireluke or the Prince to kind of break in the coil, so you're not going to notice the flavor immediately. But after a few hours, if you're chain vaping, or a day, if you just kind of take a puff here and there, you'll definitely notice the flavor is outstanding. As far as the flavor goes, I would put this up there with any rebuildable I would put it up there with almost any rebuildable I've ever used on flavor. And so maybe it's up there. It's comparable to rebuildable flavor. Not rebuildable tank, like RDA flavor, dripper. And so I really dig this for that exact reason. I do like that I can run it at like 55 watts. I could run it as low as 40. Let me try 40. because sometimes it is nice to run lower wattages so you have a little more battery life. 40 watts, if I were running this at 40 watts in the Captain, I wouldn't have to charge my batteries for like a week. Maybe not, but that being said, 40 watts. I'm still getting really good flavor. Still getting a pretty good cloud for 40 watts. Like, I don't normally run that low, so I don't have a lot of comparison. 45. Honestly, I could see myself running this at 45 watts. The coil heads for this are rated from 40 to 80. Yeah, I could honestly see myself running this at 45 watts pretty much all day vape. 50. Again, still really nice. I don't know if I noticed enough of a difference actually between where I had it at 65 and 40 to 50. 40 is a little low for me. I could see myself maybe running 45. 50 is actually really nice though. I might actually leave it at 50 and see how well I like that. And that being said, you can run that at much lower wattages. And so if you are running it on a single battery, you're going to get a little better battery life out of it than at 65 or either of these. I feel like the battery life on that's going to be phenomenal on the Captain, though. So yeah, if you're final thoughts, if you're looking for flavor, you don't care about anything but flavor. All three of these have good airflow. I didn't really talk about the airflow on the Mesh. I have it. Oh no, I don't have it completely open. Oh yeah, I've got it pretty close. Okay. I wanted to have it completely open so I could kind of give a little more reference towards. Yeah, it's definitely got less airflow. Definitely less. I don't know how significant. Yeah, it's a little bit tighter than the Prince, and the Prince was the tighter of the other two, so that kind of gives you some reference. It is loud though. I will say it is a loud little guy, but it's not like unbearably loud, but it is loud. But it is phenomenal on flavor. So for flavor and a tighter airflow, this guy is not a stainless steel mesh. I know when people think of mesh, when I think of mesh, I think stainless steel. This is Kanthal, so you cannot run this in temp control. I don't know about the other two. I don't really pay attention to temp control, but I did want to talk about it on this guy because I know a lot of people do like temp control, and I didn't know if they would hear mesh and assume stainless steel like I did at first. I actually had to look at the packaging. Juice capacity though on this is actually less. It's a 3 ml juice capacity versus the 5 or the 8 on the other two. But consumption is a lot less, so you're still only going to be filling it about as often as the other two, maybe actually a little less than the other two. In my experience, I've been filling it maybe 2 or 3 times a day. Probably more if I were using it as my only like all day. But I feel like I fill the others about equal amounts of time, but it's a smaller capacity, so I'm still using less juice. So juice consumption on that to me has seemed a lot less than the other two. Filling is about as often. And the flavor on it, by far the best. Second best flavor being the Fireluke. It still has great flavor. A little less cloud production. The big seller for this for me, though, was the rebuildable section that comes included with it. Not having to buy it separate is phenomenal for me. And then last, I'll talk about the Prince. It's got the best cloud production. Still amazing flavor. The one downside for me is that it doesn't come with a rebuildable section. And so if both of these came with a rebuildable section, both the Fireluke and the Prince, the Fireluke does. If the Prince came with a rebuildable section, I would definitely have a tougher time deciding, and it would come down to price point in the end. Price point on the Fireluke at elementvape.com is, I just looked at it. It was $25.95 or $26.95, one of the two. And then the Prince is, I remember this, $31.95 on Element Vape. I'll have links to all three of these down below in the description. And then the Mesh was $28.95. So the Mesh is the middle ground on price point, by far the best flavor. The Prince is the most expensive, still in a great price point, don't get me wrong. I just wish it came with a rebuildable section. And then the Fireluke does come with a rebuildable section. I'm sorry. I know I'm gushing about the rebuildable section, but that's a big seller for me. Is $25, $26.95, somewhere in that general range. It's the least expensive of the three. But all three are wonderful tanks. You can't go wrong. It just kind of comes down to what you're looking for. If I had to pick a winner, it would be the Fireluke Mesh. Fireluke Mesh is my winner. Second being the Fireluke, and a very, very close third. Don't get me wrong, I am actually planning on buying one of my own because this is borrowed from a friend. Is the Prince, and I love all three. I'm enjoying all three of these significantly. I'm hoping my friend doesn't see this video and be like, "Yo, I want my Prince back right now because you said it was good. I trust you." Because then I'm going to have to go out and buy one of my own because I really enjoy this tank. But if he does, I'll give it back and I'll just go buy my own tank. It's not a big deal. So if you're watching this, Russell, you can ask for your tank back. I will gladly give it back and go get me one of my own so that I have one because I enjoy it. Gosh, all three are wonderful tanks. Yeah, that's about it. Let me kind of adjust my ordering or give a little more reference to my order. If the Prince came, so these two, the Prince and the Fireluke, are really close. If the Prince came with the rebuildable section, price aside, or the Fireluke did not come with a rebuildable section, I would honestly probably flip the two in favor of the Prince. The big seller, the big difference for me personally is the rebuildable section. That's where the Fireluke makes it for me. I say that I am running the Subohm coil heads in the Fireluke right now. I'll have a review on the rebuildable section and kind of show you the words. I will show you the rebuildable section in my dedicated video for this. And I may pick this up and then order a rebuildable section for when I do the review for that. Russell, if you want your tank back, just let me know. You have my phone number. You can let me know at any time. If I'm over there and I've got it with me and you want it back, just let me know. No big deal. That being said, y'all have a great day. Keep vaping and stay away from cigarettes because cigarettes are bad. Okay? Gosh. Please, Comedy Central, don't sue. It's a parody. I don't think they could. I doubt they would. They probably won't even know that this exists. But yeah. 3 wonderful tank options. They are all very, very close. The only reason the Mesh is as far above for me is the flavor. I'm a flavor guy. I like a lot of flavor. I cannot talk enough about how good the flavor is on the Mesh. That being said, the other two are still wonderful tanks. I enjoy both of them. It's rough because I actually haven't used a rebuildable in almost 2 weeks. I've used a little bit of the Dead Rabbit, and I just put a new build in this, and that'll be coming up soon. My Recoil Rebel, I'm going to have a review on this, and I'm going to be using it for a battery life test because I built this just to test the battery life on the Captain comparison, because I'm going to do a comparison between 2700 batteries and 18650s on battery life, so I can have a little more reference between a 3000 milliamp between the two. See if there really is a difference. The problem with that is finding a true 3000 milliamp battery that's an 18650, because I know the LG HG2s I think were tested and rated at like 2500, and the Samsung 25Rs, which are the two most common batteries I see, were I think they were also a true 2500. I'm going to go look at Mooch's findings on 18650 and get back to that soon. Got a little juice on the bottom here. I don't know how I have a little juice. It might just be coming down through the 510, but I doubt it. Probably just put it on a mod that had juice on it. Anyway. Sorry, it's early. I'm recording this really early. I'm recording this earlier than I'm normally awake. But I've got a busy day. Puppy hunting, and I drive for Uber, so I'm going to be busy all afternoon. But I wanted to get up and get this recorded and taken care of so that I could put it out. I was doing some stuff yesterday, and so I didn't get the video that I had recorded for yesterday out either. That'll also be coming today. But y'all have a great night. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you watch it. If you don't watch it, enjoy whatever you are doing. Stay safe out there. If you're driving for Uber or Lyft, because I know today is going to be huge for us, stay safe out there. Watch traffic. Just be careful out there. And I hope you do really well. That being said, I need to get this over with, because I'm sure this is running up to 15-20 minutes already. Y'all have a good one. Stay away from cigarettes. Stay away from tobacco if at all possible, because it's bad for you, okay? It's bad. I know this isn't the perfect solution, but it is significantly better. And it's a lot more fun and tastes better. I mean, there are a lot of really good things about these. Gosh, I'm rambling. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling. Y'all have a good day, and I will be back tomorrow with another review. I probably won't do the 3 tanks immediately after this video. I think my plan for tomorrow is either the Dead Rabbit or the Recoil Rebel. One of those, I'm not sure yet which one. We'll find out tomorrow. Y'all have a good one, and enjoy your day.